night when Brother Francis came, that's about 15 years ago, given up with stage 4 cancer. You see many countries in the world testifying. He used to be one of the tailor of that guy who given me the award there. He get the best of the best medical treatment that there was. 4th stage cancer in every part of his body. The file ticked like that. And they brought him here. Sister Hayatali visited him in the hospital. When she went looking for him, she told the nurses she can't find him. And 4 nurses told her, he is on the bed. She said, okay, come, I'll show you he's not on the bed. Watch, she said, oh, it's a sheet. When she watched it, she saw that it was a flesh. It came down to nothing. This big man, came down to that. Told him about you. He came to church tonight. And I spoke to him. He told me about what was happening and prayed with him that night. And he said, Pastor, just as you say tonight, I was preaching on good news. And I want to tell you, the angel came and they brought good tidings of great joy. All things work together for good. While shepherds watch their flocks by night, a night to remember when darkness loses its power. Don't be discouraged or fearful. Keep watching in the darkness, because we serve a God who delights in suddenly taking dominion in the darkness and bringing the brightest news in the midst of the darkest hour. The glad tidings of great joy just when it seems to be the saddest season. Luke chapter 2 gives a marvelous account of what we call the birth of Jesus Christ and the Christmas story. When darkness loses its power, a night to remember, a period of darkness that you remember for his brightness. If it's just a period of darkness, you may forget it. You may not never want to remember it, but you remember because of its brightness. When a bright moment came and just broke the dominion of darkness, you say, my God, everything was down and out, but I was given up for dead, planning my funeral, and the rest of it. I mean, the whole thing, the most traumatic time in my life. And that moment, I'll never forget, that dark moment that had the brightest news ever. When I got the news and I got the intervention that Jesus Christ is healer, and the thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy, but he has come to me to give me life. Come on, I'll remember that moment forever. The devil wants to give you a moment of darkness so that he will cloud your past and he will frustrate you and he will have his way and his say, and it will be a moment that you will want to forget. But the Bible says, forget not all his benefits. There are times you want that pleasant memory. What God did, you want to remember that breakthrough moment. You remember the turning point. And you remember the same God that delivered me from the lion and the bear. You want to remember that moment for when you faced your Goliath. And you say, the same God that delivered me. The same God, that night hour, that dark hour, when you have that visitation to give you a night to remember, to change your darkest hour into dawn, and to give you a transition and a transformation that you will not forget. And I want you to watch this, because this nighttime thing is not just watching by day, but watching by night. When you're watching by night, you ain't watching for something good to happen. When you're watching by night, you're watching out for them thief who come in to thief your sheep. When you're watching by night, you're watching for them snake that coming to destroy your sheep. For them old foxes and wolves that coming in to take control. You're watching not for the next move of God, but for the next move of the devil. You want to know when is the next phone call that you will get to say, oh gosh, you are fired. The next one that says she is in a bad state, and the following one that says, well, we regret to tell you that he or she did not make it. You're looking for the bad things, the bad news to hear the next company that's closing down, the bad news to say that he said that he wants a divorce after all. He's not making back up, or she not making back up anymore. anymore. You know, the boy was here. He went out and we missed him for days. But the police call and say, your son will not be coming back home anymore, or your daughter will not come and identify the body. And that's common news these days, right? That's a kind of news that you hear. They were watching in the country, and this was a country situation as well. The flock by night. It was a night time. It was a bad time. It was a time where they were only looking out for what could be the next bad news. We live day to day in a world like that, not only in a country. What is the next bad news? When you put on the news at night, when you hear them coming out from the school, your children come out in the street, you just walk out by the corner somewhere, the health news, people are sick more than ever with diseases that you never heard about in your own family, in your own situation. Your flock, whatever your flock is, this flock, the flock of sheep, your flock represents what is your main interest or what is your income base. Your flock could be your immediate community. Your flock is your family. Your flock is the place where you go to school, the place where you go to work. The Bible says God places us as watchmen, and they were watching over their flock by night. Anyway, you are a watchman, that's your flock. He says he sets us up as watchmen. What they were doing, they were playing the role of watchmen. They were watching over their stock and trade. They were watching over their business. That was their business. That was their financial, their source of financial income that they were watching over. That was their livelihood. That was their future. That was their inheritance. That was all of that. Your flock, what you are watching over, the responsibility. Your flock has to do with your calling. The Bible says we are watchmen and we watch for the souls of men. You have not chosen me, I have chosen you, that you'll go and bring forth fruit, that the fruit remain. And whatsoever you ask the Father, He will give it to you. And if you take care of the flock and you are vigilant with your responsibility, and you're vigilant with that which you are charged by God, your calling, your ministry, whatever, the visitation comes in the night hour. It doesn't matter how dark that night may be and what kind of attack the devil may come with. I want to tell you, as long as you keep there watching vigilantly in that night hour, just like Daniel when he was watching in the night hour for 21 days, watching out in the night hour, the darkest hour in the lion's den. Watching has to do with praying as well. Jesus said, watch and pray. Watch and pray. We had several years ago when Brother Karen's sister-in-law came here, and I'm just telling you about remembering. We would talk about things that was on Wednesday night, on Friday night, right here. But I mean for years, 20-some years. And she came here, a demon had taken over her entire body, her life, her family, her daughter. When she came here, possessed from head to toe, I lay hands on her, and she started wiggling like a real snake on the ground. Snakes came out of her body. Frogs and snakes came out of her body. A frog and a snake combined. Part frog and part snake. You could imagine how that looked like. And this was on the news for about 5-6 years straight. On television, on the newspaper. And we bring it back up again and again. And she was getting some problems in her personal life. Went to this guy, and he said, come, I go fix it for you. They have a lot of people like that who say, come, I go fix it for you. There is a school teacher here tonight. She testified right here a few Sundays ago. She is here tonight looking as marvelous. You know, when she came in that service and she said, I went to this guy. He had demonic problems that she could not contain. So she went to this guy. He's a religious leader as well. This is serious thing, demonic problem. And he said, there are 4 demons in you, and each one will be $40,000 to remove. $40,000 for a demon to come out. And she was so desperate, like even at the point of death, she went to the bank and she said, I'm going to borrow money to at least take out the first one. And she's an intelligent person. She's a school teacher. But when you face with that night hour, brother, it's a different kind of, the devil comes up, but God, but God, but God, but God, but God. My God, she said, I'm going to the bank. And all she could get was $32,000 at the time, and she got $32,000. I said, I come for the down payment. Gone to the down payment and got What do you think? Worse. That's when all those demons start to unleash. And then she said, I turned on television and I saw Miracle Ministries come across. But God in Miracle Ministries, but God through Miracle Ministries, but God by Miracle Ministries. Wow! Light in the midst of a darkness. There came the messengers of God. They said, good tidings of great joy. You've been watching out in your darkest hour. That's why you turn on the television to watch who is on TV. And when she saw the signs, the wonders, the miracles taking place, she said, oh my God, this is the place for me. And came in that service, and not 1 cent. Her sister Candace, she said, Pastor, Wednesday night, I will never forget. But she said, I've gone through all kinds of things that day. Real hell, trouble, all kinds of problems. And she said, Pastor, you just called something and you said somebody with a back problem. And I said, my God, I have this back problem, but there might be plenty of people with me. She said, then you point in my direction and you said, somebody there with a back problem. And then she said, well, it might be other people in there. And you say, a lady there with back problem. She said, my God, this is me. Then you said, a car got hit. She said, but that's my car too. You said, there is somebody who spent $260 today. She said, no. Let me go up. She said, it is the right thing for me today. I cannot forget Wednesday night and the intervention of God. She said, I had a dream of iniquity just before all these things started to happen. And I dream how these people was wrapping me in a ball-like thing. And you and Pastor Angela came and like you were freeing me from that lockdown. She said all these things start to unfold. And Wednesday night when I went home, words to that effect, I slept like a baby. The night when Brother Francis came, that was about 15 years ago, given up with stage 4 cancer. You see, many countries in the world testifying. He used to be one of the tailor of that guy who given me the award there. He get the best of the best medical treatment that there was. 4th stage cancer in every part of his body. The file thick like that. And they brought him here. Sister Hayatalian visited him in the hospital. When she went looking for him, she told the nurses she can't find him. And 4 nurses told her, he is on the bed. She said, okay, come, I'll show you. He's not on the bed. Watch, there's a little piece of sheet. When she watched it, she see a little piece of flesh and bones on the bed. Came down to nothing. This big man, came down to that. Told him about church. He came to church the night. And I spoke to him. They told me about what was happening. And prayed with him that night. And he said, Pastor, just as you say tonight, I was preaching on good news. And I want to tell you, the angel came and they brought good tidings of great joy. All things work together for good. The gospel means good news. The gospel means good news. Jesus went about doing good, healing all that were oppressed of the devil. Is good news tonight for you. And he said, Pastor, I will be coming back with good news. I say, you go check the doctor. And he started putting on weight rapidly and changed his whole, and went back by the doctor. They tested him head to toe. They couldn't find one single trace of cancer. He brought him before and after. All the problems that he had before, all the cancer. And then you see every page there has a matching page over here. I'm not exaggerating. You can see himself, his grandson, all and son and all. A thing about thick like that, about 1 inch and a quarter inch and a half thick. And every page, you see, basically speaking, every symptom, you see it here the worst and this side the best. Here mess up, total death, and this one is complete life. Completely clean, clear. 15 years, 16 years, whatever, maybe 18 years, I don't know how quick, that wasn't too long after this church had opened. Now, it's a night to remember, when God brought a visitation and destroyed the powers of darkness. His testimony has gone in countries all over the world. You see it on Joel Osteen and their website. It's on the internet, all kinds of things there. On Wednesday night, this pastor that came, I was just calling out things, as you know, all over the place. And I just said, there is somebody tonight and you have some condition in your body. body, something. And I said something about prostate. You're drinking something that's green. And his wife came up and he said, I am that person. And he said, I have prostate cancer. I said, could we say it? He said, no problem. You could say it openly. While the prayer line was here, we said it. And I said, I'm seeing a blood clot. It looked like it could be fatal. His wife said, that's me, a blood clot, and it caused an aneurysm in the brain. She could drop and dead any moment. And we prayed for both of them. The wife fell under the power immediately. And he was just saying, Pastor, thank you. Pastor, thank you. Pastor, thank you. As the power of God surged through his body, he said, I was drinking the green mixture, whatever the green thing is, up to today. He said, I was drinking it. And God just zeroed it into their life. And God broke that thing. It's a dark hour, a night that they will never forget. That God turned the night to light and make everything right. The night to light and make everything right. The night to light and make everything right.